I organized and funded a birthday celebration for my mother-in-law, only to be told I wasn't invited because I'm not considered family. In response, I barred her from the event and repurposed the venue for my own gathering. I'm a 26-year-old woman, married for nearly 3 years to my 29-year-old husband. From the start, I've known his family doesn't care for me. My husband has 2 younger twin sisters, aged 23, and a younger brother, 21, none of whom seem to warm to me. My mother-in-law shares their sentiment. I've never pinpointed the reason for their dislike, but I was determined to mend things, hoping to foster a positive bond with my in-laws. This year, I decided to arrange my mother-in-law's 50th birthday party. My husband cautioned against it, suggesting I shouldn't bother trying to win over a family that clearly doesn't like me. I brushed off his advice, driven by my desire to connect with them. Being a sociable person, I couldn't bear the idea of being disliked without cause. I had to make things right. A few days ago, I began planning the event and reached out to my husband's siblings for help, but they showed no interest and told me to handle it alone. I reserved a restaurant my mother-in-law cherished, a place she frequented with her late husband. I covered all expenses for food and decorations in advance, ensuring everything aligned with her meticulous preferences. I personally oversaw the details and, after consulting my husband, invited her closest friends and select relatives she'd want present. In essence, I financed and organized everything single-handedly, with minimal input from my husband, while her children contributed nothing. Yesterday, the day before her birthday, we visited her despite my husband's reluctance. When we arrived, we found her other children already there, visibly startled by our presence but silent. After some casual conversation, I revealed we were expecting her at the restaurant the following evening for a special event. She smiled and thanked my husband, but he clarified that I was the one behind it. Her expression darkened instantly, leaving me puzzled. I explained that I'd invited her dear friends and family and chosen her favorite dishes to highlight my efforts. But her face twisted into a scowl, and she thanked me in a saccharine tone before stating I wouldn't be attending. Stunned, I asked why. She explained that she wanted her 50th to be memorable, restricted to family only. While she counted her friends as family, she explicitly excluded me. My husband and I were floored, and I realized he'd been right. I shouldn't have bothered. His siblings barely contained their amusement, which infuriated me further. I stood, told her she could get lost, and warned that if she showed up, I'd have security remove her. Their smug expressions vanished. My mother-in-law called me heartless, and I retorted that her accusation was hypocritical. After some heated exchanges where she tried to paint me as the villain, I declared she didn't deserve kindness, and my decision was final. She and her children were livid, and as I left, she began crying, likely a ploy to guilt me, but I was unmoved. I was furious. On the way home, I tried canceling the booking, but it was too late. My husband seemed uneasy, but only said I'd done the right thing. At home, he stepped out for a cigarette, which was fine since he's never been vocal about family disputes and avoids meddling. I appreciated that he didn't gloat about being right. Since I'd already paid for everything, I canceled the guest list, upsetting many of my mother-in-law's friends, but I didn't care. Instead, I invited my own friends to salvage the evening, annoyed by the ordeal. My husband joined, and I encouraged him to invite his friends for a lively party. We removed the decorations just in time and had a fantastic night. I shared photos online afterward. My sister-in-law messaged me, accusing me of ruining her mother's birthday and calling it selfish to repurpose the venue, knowing its significance to her. I don't regret my actions and believe they were justified, but I hope I'm not wrong. Was I the asshole for canceling my mother-in-law's party after she excluded me? Update 1. I showed my husband the messages from his sister and asked if I should apologize. He firmly said no. He'd had enough of their behavior and suggested cutting them off completely. This was significant since his family depended heavily on him financially, especially his mother. My husband, who runs a successful business, is well off, and his siblings, who frequently change jobs, rely on him. Truthfully, they all lean on him for support, so this was a major step. I tried dissuading him, but he was resolute. I suspect there's more to this, as I've noticed his family distanced themselves the longer we were together. By our wedding, he was already detached from them. It wasn't his fault. He often invited them over during our dating days and early marriage, but they always dodged with excuses. I felt partly responsible, which fueled my efforts to bond with them, hoping to help him reconnect. I'm certain he's withholding something, as he's not one to abandon family lightly. He once spoke passionately about family values, so this abrupt decision, though fair given his mother's behavior, seems out of character. I'm determined to uncover the truth to ensure he's not miserable or resentful later. Update 2. After persistent nudging, my husband revealed why he's severing ties after years. His father died when he was 21, with his siblings still in school. His mother, who never worked, relied on him as the breadwinner since their inheritance was insufficient. He toiled relentlessly, and at 23, secured investors for his startup, transforming his fortunes. While this was a boon, it made his family lazy and materialistic. As his wealth grew, they became increasingly dependent. But he stayed silent, feeling obligated to honor his father's wishes. They mistreated his girlfriends, fearing distractions from his role as provider. When I came along and proved resilient against their hostility, they grew irritated and tried turning him against me. While we dated, there were fierce arguments behind my back, with his family pushing for a breakup, but he stood firm on marrying me. They began distancing themselves to guilt him, yet still sought his money. This failed to split us, and years later, we're stronger than ever. After the birthday debacle, while his sister texted me to guilt-trip me, his mother called him, attempting to manipulate him into leaving me for insulting her. That was his breaking point, prompting his decision to cut ties. I'm appalled they treated him this way despite his unwavering support, and I've lost all respect for their greed. I'm grateful I stuck by him despite their efforts to drive me away for his wealth. I love him for who he is, not his money. I'm amazed he endured this and kept it hidden to spare my feelings, knowing my desire for a good relationship with his family was futile. I support his choice to cut them off. They're selfish and ungrateful, disrespecting the man who supported them against all odds. Today, he called his mother and told her he's done unless they change. They must also find their own income, as he won't support them indefinitely. Predictably, this sparked outrage, with his mother yelling even off speakerphone. A heated argument ensued, and I overheard it all. She blamed me, accusing me of orchestrating the cutoff and fracturing their family. She claimed I was manipulating him, ironically urging him not to be swayed by his wife. My husband defended me, insisting his siblings find stable jobs as adults rather than leeching off him. She accused him of letting wealth and power corrupt him, alleging I encouraged the cutoff, treating his family cruelly. It was blatant manipulation. But I wasn't letting it slide now that I knew their tactics. As the argument escalated and I saw my husband tear up in frustration, I stepped in. I told her their time was up. Either respect us and act decently to stay in our lives, or continue being greedy leeches and be cut out permanently. I hung up and silenced his phone to give him peace. We set our phones aside to watch a movie and decompress. Update 4. Not content with harassing my husband, my mother-in-law targeted me next. After the movie, while he worked, I checked my phone. I had multiple missed calls from her and vile texts from his siblings filled with profanity. Unsurprised, I screenshotted everything and ignored them. While replying to work emails, I accidentally accepted her call. She unleashed a tirade, insulting my character and upbringing, labeling me a scheming gold digger out to ruin my husband. I stayed silent until she finished. When she paused, I told her accusations mirrored her own actions, and she should reflect before blaming others. I added that I was glad my husband was shedding parasites like her and her kids, who didn't deserve his presence. I hung up and blocked them everywhere to stop further contact. It's pathetic how low they'll stoop to avoid working. I haven't told my husband about her call to avoid stressing him, but if it happens again, I'll inform him and ensure they're gone for good. They have no right to disrupt our peace. I'm unsure what they'll do next, but I suspect my mother-in-law won't stop unless we pursue legal action, which I hope to avoid for my husband's sake. If it comes to that, I'm prepared to see it through. They won't mess with him anymore. Update 5. Nearly 2 weeks since the last update, and much has transpired. After blocking my mother-in-law, we hoped for calm the next day. Instead, she showed up at our home with her 3 adult children, demanding answers for our actions. They looked furious, and I knew this would tax my husband emotionally. Despite their objections that I shouldn't be present for a family matter, I stayed, reminding them they were uninvited guests in my home. They verbally attacked my husband, accusing him of selfishness and abandoning his family to appease his wife. He stayed quiet, visibly upset, so I intervened, knowing his sensitivity, especially about family. His love for them was genuine. While they exploited him, I told him to collect himself and ordered his family to leave, as they were angering me and distressing him. His mother argued she could stay as long as she wished in her son's house, continuing to berate him despite his obvious pain. It was sickening to see her disregard his feelings, fixated on his money. She claimed she hadn't raised him to act this way, expressing disappointment in his choice of wife over family. His brother called me a gold digger unworthy of him, insisting his only duty was as a son and brother. Enraged, I snapped. I called them lazy, ungrateful freeloaders thriving off my husband's generosity, incapable of supporting themselves, the true gold diggers. I highlighted their audacity to criticize him after all he'd done. Stunned, they had no retort. I demanded they leave before I called the police for trespassing. They departed, but his mother played the guilt card, saying his late father would be ashamed. It was vile manipulation, and after they left, my husband broke down sobbing. I spent hours consoling him. I regretted planning the party, but it exposed their true nature, and I'm glad it happened early. I blocked them from his accounts to prevent online contact. Once calm, I suggested consulting lawyers, anticipating further trouble. He agreed, knowing their greed. We were right. Days later, his mother sent a legal notice claiming he stole vast sums from their inheritance to start his business, demanding compensation. It was a lie. He built his company with his own earnings. The accusation, given his company's prominence, sparked rumors, harming his business. After 2 weeks, we proved their claims false, and now they owe us a hefty fine for defamation. They've been shunned by extended family for their stunt, and his siblings are scrambling for jobs to cover bills my husband once paid. They deserve this. We're happier now, ready to move forward and leave them behind. I'll ensure our peace endures.